Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tea's Talk Time. I'm your host, Teresa Smith. Today's episode is entitled How to Prepare for Move-In Day, Dorm Room Essentials on a Budget. So your son or daughter is about to go off to college and will be living on campus. What do you need to do months before the move-in date? Keep listening and I'll tell you. I'd suggest you take a deep breath, read all the info on the college's website about what they can and cannot bring to the dorm, watch some YouTube move-in videos, read some articles about the process, look for details for products in stores and online before you buy, and don't believe all the hype. Many videos and vlogs will have you overbuy things that aren't truly needed by your child when living in a dorm. So take all advice with a grain of salt and remember, less is more. I learned this lesson the hard way. I started deep diving into watching dorm move-in videos on YouTube a year before my son was moving into his dorm. Not knowing if he was going to go out of state or in state, I decided to be sure he would not want for anything once he was living on campus. That was a huge mistake. I had visions of grandeur about what his dorm room should look like. However, as we started to tour college campuses and dorms, I began to alter my vision of what could actually fit in a dorm room, because these dorm rooms are not as large as you think. This is when I knew I would have to downsize my decoration plans, yet I still wanted to get most of the things I saw on YouTube. So I began to collect and collect and collect until I noticed how packed my son's room at home was getting. Mind you, my son's room is way larger than his single dorm room was going to be. Then I began moving some of the dorm room items to my room and the dining room. I even purchased a wagon to assist with the move-in in addition to the wagons the college would provide. Now, I drive a sedan, so I now needed a bigger car to move all this stuff onto campus. So I enlisted two family members with vans who were willing to help my son and I on move-in day. Yes, I did say two minivans. Was I losing my mind? In retrospect, I think I was. As you can tell by my tone, some of these things were eventually brought back home. So it was a waste of time and money to purchase these unnecessary items. A hamper and a heavy piece of wall art returned home with me on the actual move-in day. But the small TV and some clothing surprisingly followed a few weeks later. By the way, my son did not decide to go out of state. Therefore, I could have moved him in my car with the bare essentials and brought only a few extra items to him a week later. But you live and you learn. So here's my list of what I think you'll need for your male child on move-in day, whether in town or out of state, if your child is going to have a single room like mine has. Firstly, a Bible. Why do I say that? Because they are going to need some spiritual guidance when they head off into these campuses, because you will not be there with them on a daily basis to guide them. They're going to need some spirituality in their lives. Trust me. Next, toiletries. That's anything that your child needs to keep up his or her hygiene. So load up on toothbrushes, toothpaste, and mouthwash. Also send at least a bottle or two of lotion, shampoo, conditioner, a comb, a hairbrush, hair care products, body wash, deodorant, a couple of those, a good amount of those, hand soap, because they share hand soaps in the bathrooms. You need a couple so that your child can participate in sharing the hand soap and certain toiletries in the suites bathroom. Since my child has his own single room, he goes to the suite, or there's actually two bathrooms in the suite. So he has to put in hand soap certain months. Bar soap, cologne, fingernail clippers, toilet paper, again, another item that they share. They each place one in every other or so month. Disposable toilet seat covers. I want to emphasize this. Not all students in dorms are very clean or clean the toilet seat every time. So I invested in buying a large amount of toilet seat covers for my child. Hand sanitizer, an electric shaver, wet wipes, etc. As far as cleaning supplies go, I recommend a Swiffer, Lysol wipes, paper towels, laundry detergent, laundry dryer sheets, a small vacuum cleaner, a broom, a dustpan, some Lysol spray, more than one can, a small garbage can with small garbage bags, over 100, a laundry bag with backpack straps, a collapsible hamper, an iron or a steamer, and a small ironing board, a toilet bowl brush, rubber gloves, soft scrub cleanser, air freshener. As far as linens go, 2 weeks worth of towels and washcloths, 2 sets of sheet sets, 1 throw, 1 blanket set, 1 mattress topper, 1 mattress protector, 1 quilted mattress cover, 1 pillow, or 2 if they like more, 1 cushioned backboard, and 1 reading pillow. That's the pillow they use to sit up in the bed with the little armrests. It's all pillow though. Then, very importantly, a first aid kit, 1 complete first aid kit. Any prescribed medicines or medications, vitamins, particularly I made sure I sent vitamin C, etc. School supplies, a laptop, notebooks, pens, a pen holder, calculators, Post-its, highlighters, paper clips, a stapler, staples, folders, their backpack, noise canceling headphones, very important, because sometimes when the child wants to study in their room, they will overhear the other suite mates in the common area or through the wall in their rooms playing music or talking loudly with friends. And if your child wants to study in his or her room, the noise canceling headphones I would definitely recommend. The brand I purchased was called Bose, Bose. A laptop cushion, a laptop cover, flash drives for storing work, adapters, long charger wires, because sometimes the outlet is not close to the desk, a desk pad, a hutch, for organizing books and a little decoration on the desk, and a wireless printer. Although there are many places on campus to get things printed out cheaply, if your child doesn't want to have to do that, a wireless copy print fax machine, they come very cheaply nowadays. Other electronics, an alarm clock, of course a mobile phone, extra battery pack, a desk lamp with a charger on it. They definitely need a desk lamp because the rooms are not well lit. And if you get the one that also has a charger on it, they can just lay the phone down on top of the base to charge their phone. Also, try to purchase at least 2 power strips. This way, if the outlets are in awkward places, they can plug the power strip into the wall that has a long cord, and they can plug in numerous things on their desk. Also, a small fan to help move cool air around the room in the warmer months. Although your child will have in their room a heater slash air conditioner, some people say they don't give off as much cool air. Having a small fan is a must. Clothing. 2 sets of pajamas, 1 week's worth of clothing, including seasonal pieces if the student is in places with 4 seasons. 1 professional suit, because sometimes they have to go on interviews. 1 pair of semi-dress shoes, at least 2 pairs of sneakers, a raincoat, spring jacket, winter coat, and at least 3 hoodies. Seasonal hats, at least 2 pair of sweatpants. A week's worth of graphic tees. 2 to 3 weeks worth of underwear, including t-shirts. 2 weeks worth of seasonal socks. 1 pair of dress socks. Shower shoes, a must. You don't want your child to get a fungus on their feet. Also, slippers and a robe. They can't gallivant around the campus or the suite in just their underwear. So a robe is a must. Miscellaneous. They need a tool set. Sometimes they might need to tighten a screw or something in their room. Painter's tape comes in very handy if you want to hang things on the wall because you don't want to do any damage to the wall. So after you put the painter's tape on, you can, on top of the painter's tape, put a regular piece of double-sided tape to stick things on. Command strips. Command strips are a must because they don't leave damage to the wall. If you want them to have a place to hang up their keys, you can put a command strip and they can put their keys on that command strip hook. Some people like fairy lights. The lights I placed in my son's room, they look more like a tape. So on top of the painter's tape, I pasted down or taped down the lights, the extra lights that you could use to light up the area near the desk. Lightweight wall art. Hear me again. Lightweight wall art. If the wall art is too heavy, it's going to fall off the wall. Believe me, I know. We tried to put up 2 such pieces and each of them fell. So the only piece of wall art that stayed was a large picture with a lion on it, a lion DJ, and we had to lean that on top of like the file cabinet. We could not hang it. No matter what we did, it would not stay on the wall. I would also suggest you get a rug to lay beside or near the bed so that when they get up in the morning, their feet won't touch the cold tiles on the floor. The type or style of rug I put was, of course, a rectangular one that's more like a runner so that it could run for the length of the bed. A refrigerator, especially if your child has a special diet or if you just want your child to have his food in the sanctity of his own room, because all college dorm suites have a communal area, a common area where they do have a refrigerator where all of the students can put their foods. But if your child wants his food to be in a private area, you need to get a refrigerator. I wouldn't suggest one of those large ones. I suggest a small one because the child will probably not be cooking on the campus because they have meal plans and they have dining areas and multiple places to go out to get food. But if they want to munch on certain things that can be perishable, you need the small dorm refrigerator. I'll tell you on another video how many cubic feet or whatever the refrigerator is that I purchased. Paper cups, paper plates, and paper bowls, and napkins and forks, plastic forks and spoons and knives are needed because most of these children do not want to wash dishes. They do have a sink in the common area, in the communal area. However, these children are racing and running most of the time, and when they eat, they do not want to wash dishes. I did get my son some plastic dishes, fork, spoon, and cups, but he doesn't use them. He uses the paper and plastic. So save yourself some money and just get the paper and plastic items for them. They're single, they're young. They don't like to wash dishes. What can I say? Bottled water. Now, in my son's dorm, in the lobby area, they have an area where you can fill a bottle with water. So if you don't want to purchase bottled water, you don't have to. However, I would want that water to be filtered. So initially I purchased a Brita water pitcher so that he could filter his water on his own. However, he really didn't want to do that. I guess it took too much effort. So I ended up buying stacks of Poland Spring bottled water. I would also suggest you purchase some juice to be left in their rooms because they don't only want to drink water in their spare time when they're not at the dining areas. So add a little flavor to what you leave them to drink. Also, give them some healthy snacks like granola bars in bulk that they could eat, in the nighttime when they're watching a movie or something. Also, I would suggest a small gaming system like Nintendo Switch or some other small handheld game to pass the time when they're not studying. Coat hangers, one ottoman storage cube. Therefore, when they're sitting in the uncomfortable chair with the hard wooden chair with the desk that is given to them, they can put their feet up on the ottoman, or if a friend comes over, they can sit on the ottoman and also use it as storage. I also bought a seat cushion because that wooden chair was so hard to sit on. I suggest that you pack an umbrella because not all days are sunny, and large packaging bags to carry most of these things in. I ordered some from online, plastic ones, because if you place lots of things into the plastic storage containers, you're just adding weight. And the thinner plastic bags that you can carry onto campus, they're lighter in weight if you get the sturdy kind, and it's easier to pick up and put on your shoulder or carry to place inside of the wagon and pull it into the dorm room. Now let's talk money. The children need a credit card and they need some cash. I'd say give them a little bit of cash. They need some cash from time to time. A Metro card or a refillable Metro card and an Uber account, especially if they don't drive and they don't have a car. Personally, for me, I feel like the young people driving is a little bit hazardous. So I didn't want my son to drive at this point in his life. So in terms of money, these students sometimes nowadays, they use PayPal, they use Venmo, they use Zelle, lots of those types of things I don't trust as much. I think I trust the credit card more because I monitor it. So definitely they need some type of electronic money. And lastly on my list, and not unimportant, but very important, they're medical cards and IDs. They need to have those with them in case of an emergency. Hopefully none of them have to go to urgent care, but if they do, those they have to have. So some of you may think this list is too extensive, but it really isn't. Believe it or not, I took much more than this to my son's school and ended up bringing the excess back home. But that wagon from the A store, I don't want to name it, really came in handy for those trips back to the car. Two things I wouldn't recommend buying in bulk are milk and ramen. Even the milk that isn't refrigerated, because they expire and end up not being used. As for the TV, most students watch cable and stream shows on their laptops. So getting a TV will be a waste unless your child is an avid gamer and they have to do gaming on the big screen for whatever the reason. Also, an expensive duvet, in my opinion, isn't necessary. If your child is hot-blooded like mine, he uses a regular blanket at night and a throw on top of it if he wants to just chill in bed using his laptop. The truth is, they won't spend every waking moment in their rooms. If there are 4 seasons where your child goes to college, they will spend more time in the room during the winter months. See, college students are out and about more often than not. I know my son participates in a club and a research group outside of his class hours, and sometimes classmates are in the library studying together. They also engage in social activities on campus, so the room should be comfortable, but not so comfortable that they never leave it. And remember, eventually they will be coming back home, and they have to bring all of that stuff back with them. Where are you going to put it? Now, children who go away to college, they probably won't bring everything back home each end of year. They will probably have to leave many of their things in storage in that other state. And remember, as the parent, you have to pay that storage bill. So I say keep things small, keep things tight, keep things neat, and don't go overboard. Try to keep your budget low. And the products you purchase, look for things that are durable and not necessarily high end. Durability is what you should look for so that these items, many of them, can be used for at least 4 years each time they go back off to college for sophomore year, for junior year, and then for senior year after the freshman year is done. So, parents, my advice to you again is have a short list of the most important items. Believe me, your child will survive without you on campus. Take care, and I'll talk to you later.